What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another YouTube video. Before we get started, you guys already know the drill. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, share the video with a friend. Let's get into this video. All right, y'all. So this video was highly requested, and basically what this video is requesting, what people have requested, is to tell them about my college journey, what I did, how I started, any study tips I had, and now that I've graduated, what the next step is when it comes to education, continuing to get my license, becoming a true engineer, and just where I'm heading now. And I was like, you know what? I've gotten a lot of messages on all my social medias. I was like, this seems like something people genuinely want to see, what they want to hear about. So let's give the people what they want. You know what I mean? So first off, I'm parched. Let me get some water. Then we'll get into it. Okay. So it all started back in, I'm just kidding. Anyway, so what's going on? So it was something I didn't really plan on doing. When I first graduated high school in 2016, I was like, I don't know what I want to do. I don't really have any desires but music at the time. And if any of you guys have known me since high school, middle school, I had a really big passion for music, and I wanted to be a rapper. I had a whole little studio. I made music. I had a couple, 2 or 3 producers I was working with. I had stuff on Spotify, Apple Music, SoundCloud. What else? Yeah, all that fun stuff. Pandora, all that. I had about 6 songs. And I started to lose a passion for it, and realized it wasn't what I wanted to do. And why I didn't want to do it is because I feel like it wasn't a hobby at the time. It was becoming more of a wanting to blow up. And that's not anything you should do for a passion. And at the time, I started dating someone, and we eventually ended up dating 4.5 years, getting engaged. Unfortunately, it did not work. But in that time, I realized what I truly wanted in life. I wanted to be a husband. I wanted to be a father. I wanted to have a family. And I wanted to be around, because my whole life I grew up no father figure. I had no men besides my football coaches that I looked up to in my life growing up. Or any athletic coaches. Those were the men in my life. And, in my head, I've always wanted to be a father. It's my biggest goal in life. But on top of it, I wanted to be around. I also grew up not a lot of family around. And so, I had these certain things that the older I got, the more I realized I wanted more. It was more important to me. And on top of that, I was like, I want to be able to give myself, but also my family, the life that my mom tried so hard to give us, that she can only do so much being a single mother. You know what I mean? And that is, I want to be financially secure to the point that when I do meet the person I end up marrying, if she so gladly decides she wants to stay home and raise our children, we'll be very comfortable. I will be able to support our family, give them anything and everything they want, and let my family, me and my wife, raise our children. So I was like, you know what? What do I like to do? What inspires me? What am I good at? And so I really took a solid week and sat down and was like, hey, what do I want to do in life? At the time, I'm 22 years old, and I'm like, what am I doing? And my girlfriend at the time was in nursing school, or about to go into nursing school. And I was like, you know what? This is inspiring. What can I do? And so I was like, I really like to build stuff. I was like, that's kind of cool. I also have a really big thing for medicine. And so I went to college at the Utah Valley University for 1 semester. I was going to get my bachelor's of science in biology. I took 1 semester of classes, I did average, and all that stuff. But I was like, bro, that was hard. It was hard. I felt like it wasn't a passion for me. I think that was all when it came down to money. If you're a doctor, you make good money. And I decided, I did some math, wouldn't have been done residency, like really making money or being done with medicine until I was in my late 30s. And I was like, that's not what I want to do. I want to retire early and live life. And because I started college 5 years after high school, it pushed me back. You know, I was starting college at the time. A lot of my friends from high school had just graduated. So it really put me in a weird spot. And I had to do some soul searching at that point. I was like, you know what? Medicine is not what I want to do. And I was like, hey, what's the other thing? And if you guys know me, I have a really big passion for building things. I'm good at math. I'm good at science. And building has been something I'm really been at. Since I can remember, I've always loved to build things. I have a really big passion for Legos. I know that may sound crazy to y'all, but I love to build things and see it come to life and all that fun stuff. So I started to research engineering. What kind of engineering would I want to do? I looked into chemical. I was like, that could be cool. I looked into aerospace. Thought that would be really, really be cool to work on. Air stuff, you know, planes, missiles, potentially work for NASA, all that crazy stuff. I looked into electrical. Didn't want to do it. It didn't even interest me a little bit. And I hit civil. And I was like, you know, you can get to the point, you can build houses, you can build bridges, you can build skyscrapers, stadiums, arenas. You could be one of the main people working on those projects. And I was also thinking about, I was like, hey, let's look at job stability. There will always be things needing to be built. And I was like, this is good. This is good. And I was like, you know what? This looks interesting enough to me that I feel like I can do it. And so at the time, I was like, this is what I'm leaning towards. Obviously, I have 2 years or a year and a half to really figure it out still. So I decided to go back to college, continue with my GE, general education classes, just the basics, English, writing, basic math classes, all that stuff. And I got my associate's degree from Salt Lake Community College in 2023. And I was like, hey, this is what I continually want to do. And so I got up to the University of Utah, transferred there to get my bachelor's degree. That's where we just graduated from earlier this month in May. And let me tell you something. I highly underestimated engineering. I see a lot of people talk crap on civil engineering. They say it's the easiest part of engineering. It's not, bro. I promise you. It is not. You have to think about every single thing that you could imagine, but you don't think about it, if that makes sense. So right now, I live in an apartment complex. In order to be sitting here talking to y'all in my own apartment, there had to be so many civil engineers that came through, figured out what type of soil is 50 feet down from right where I am, what the water content is, what type of soil it is, what's the compaction of that soil. Oh, they had to set up ways to make all the water and waste and everything get down into the sewer system. They had to think about how to get the water from, I don't even know, down on the ground level, be able to get up into whatever floor I'm on. They had to do all these things, but on top of it, they had to be able to make a structure that could withstand wind, snow, gravity, be able to put pressure on the ground and not fall over, but also be able to carry all the weight of everything that's inside. And that just, in my head, that's crazy. And, you know, that's just something I was like, you know, this is cool. I really, truly enjoy this, but I highly underestimated engineering. I'm a smart kid. I've always been smart. I had a 3.98 GPA in high school. I took honors classes. I got humbled in this engineering degree. I really did. You know, Calculus 2, by far the second hardest class I ever took in college. I don't know why. Calculus 2, triple integrals. If you know, you know. Calculus 2 was crazy. You know, Calculus 3 was easier than Calculus 2 somehow. And then we got into the University of Utah where we really dive into the School of Engineering. and the classes of engineering. And we got to the point where I was taking these classes and I was like, this is engineering. Like, we're learning about how real life problems are solved, how people plan certain things, how wind forces usually tend to get higher and stronger the higher up you go. So you have to make the top of your buildings stronger than you have to. You have to be able to withstand earthquakes, wind, snow, all these crazy things, and how they do that. Because at the end of the day, as an engineer, especially a civil engineer that likes and wants to go into structures, if you don't do your job right, people die. And that's a scary thing to think about. But on top of it, it's rewarding because you have to know what you know, like, truly. And so we got to the point where I pushed through these last classes and ended up graduating with my bachelor's degree in civil engineering. And that's kind of where we're at now. I will say, like I said, I was humbled. I had late nights. There were nights that I was studying up until 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the morning. I would try to go to sleep, couldn't sleep. I had to be up for work at 4 o'clock in the morning. So I just come out here and study. And that's the other thing. I worked full time. Sometimes during my associate's degree, I worked 2 jobs. I worked full time during the week and a part-time job on the weekend. So I was working 7 days a week on top of going to college full time so I could pay out of pocket for my associate's degree. And I'll tell you guys, don't be afraid to go to a community college for the first 2 years of college. I would highly recommend it. It's cheaper and it's the exact same classes or education you will take at a university. You just don't have the big university name behind it. If you have an opportunity to do a community college first, do it. I highly recommend it. You will save so much money. Class sizes are smaller because that is one thing. When you get to universities, you have a minimum of 40 people per class. And, professors can't talk to every single person. They have other classes they got to get to. They have other things going on. Some of them are doing their own things when it comes to education, research, all these things. So if you are also a person that wants to go back to college, look into a community college. I would highly recommend it. Anyway, so we got to the point where we graduated. That's where we're at now. Plan going forward. Right now, it is middle of May, not even the middle of May yet. And we are taking my FE exam this summer. Probably be later this summer, which is the fundamentals of engineering. That's how you take this exam. It's a 6-hour exam. You realistically have 5.5 hours to take it after introductions, all that stuff. It's 110 questions, all about the fundamentals of civil engineering. About every topic you learn in college. Not every topic, but like the most important ones when it comes to engineering. So you take that, you pass it. They don't give you a score. You just, there's a certain score. They don't tell you what it is. I've heard 70% and above makes you pass. I don't know. But we're prepping for that. Let me show y'all. This is the prep we have going on right now. This is a FE Civil Practice Exam book that has 800 questions in it, 800 plus questions. And we're going to take that exam, hopefully pass it first try. But once you pass that exam, you get your EIT, which is engineering training. And that is your first step to becoming a professional engineer or a PE. And once I pass the EIT, I'm going to take a little break and then start studying for my PE, take that exam. That is where you become a professional engineer. And there are little prereqs to become a professional engineer. You have to work under a other professional engineer that has been licensed, done all that fun stuff. You have to work under them for 3 to 4 years, depending if you get a master's degree. Some states I've heard of 2, I don't know. But anyway, you have to work below an engineer. And once you do that for your required time and you pass your PE, then you can start to stamp documents. You can become a project manager. You can really work your way up to being in a really good position financially, and you can be in a really good position in your job. And, now that I've gone through this process of working full time, I'm going to college full time, I know I've grown so much as a man, I've grown so much as an individual. And it's exciting because, seeing how proud my family was, even my niece and nephew, they're 2.5 and 4.5 years old. They're so little, they don't know what's going on. But seeing them on my graduation day, they were cheering for me. My family was sending me videos. They were like, "Go, Uncle Ty." Like, I have a great support system. I always have. And it's going to be super rewarding in the future. And I want to give my family everything they possibly can need, my own personal family. But also, I would love to be able to give back to my family the best I possibly can. And, hopefully that's to the point where, if anybody needs anything built or they need any plans or an engineer, like, I'm like, "Hey, I got hookups. Let me save you some money. I'll do it for free. I will talk to, see what I can do." But also on top of that, that leads me to the point of the future. Right now, we're taking prepping for the FE exam. We're going to take that. Once we pass it, we're going to take a month, 2 break, start prepping for the FE exam or the PE exam. And I am going back to classes this fall for 2 classes. They will help with allowing me to work on bigger, better projects in the future. But also when it comes to your PE, it's very dialed in on one thing. And I want to go into structures. And so I am taking a concrete class that I didn't take in college. I didn't have to. But it is going to really help me pass the PE. Because that's going to be something I really need to know. And I've already been in college mode, so why not just finish it? It sucks, but it's 2 classes. I can hack that. So that's kind of where we're at right now. Hopefully you guys kind of get the picture of my story, but it was long, it was hard. Long nights studying. You really have to push yourself when it comes to engineering, and it'll test your limits. I'm not going to lie to you. There was times where I didn't think I could do it. I failed classes. I failed physics 2. I failed calculus 2. Each class one time. I had to retake both those classes in college. I'm a smart guy. I got humbled. I'm not going to lie. You really have to set us apart. Time. I missed out on a lot of things with friends and family. Like, I remember there was times for Thanksgiving. I was with family, but I would have to take little breaks and go back in the back room and study because I had finals in a week. Like, it sucked, but it's one of the most rewarding feelings when you walk for graduation and they're like, "You guys are engineers." And you're just like, "I did that." You know what I mean? So yeah, we're going to do that. And that's kind of our plan going forward. And I would love to get to the point where I can own a structural engineering business in the future and retire early. That's kind of the goal. But like I said, that's kind of the goal. And so we just got to keep pushing forward. And, this content creation thing, like I said, I want to be open with you guys and let you know that it was hard to do all that. But I'm a true believer that you can do whatever you set your mind to. You just have to do it and believe in yourself. And don't let what other people tell you or say affect you. Because at the end of the day, it's your life. You need to do what's going to make you happy, regardless of what your family thinks, whatever your friends think, whatever little Billy down the road thinks, or someone that you've never met from social media thinks. Do what's going to make you happy. And, engineering has made me happy. And, I'm grateful. I can sit here and say I'm an engineer. Some people say you can't say that till you get your EIT, but I have the education for it. I'm an engineer. So hopefully that kind of summed up everything for you guys on my journey with college and going forward. But yeah, right now we're just prepping for the FE exam. That's the next step. And it comes at a really good time. I'm in summer. I don't have any classes to worry about. I can just focus on working, obviously being an adult, but focusing on prepping for that exam. It's going to be a crazy exam. I've kind of looked over the FE book right here, and I do have to do some studying. There's been a lot of stuff I haven't seen since I was at Salt Lake Community College 3-4 years ago. So going to have to retouch on topics. It should be a review. So if there's certain things I don't remember, I just have to review it. I'll be like, "Oh yeah, I remember that." But yeah, if you guys have any questions on any of this stuff, a little bit more questions, any advice you want when it comes to college, any advice you want when it comes to engineering specifically, any classes, anything I learned from certain classes that helped me learn. I watched numerous YouTube professors that helped with certain classes. I can let you know. So if you guys have any questions like that, make sure you guys drop it in the comments. I'll try my best to get back to those as soon as possible. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. And you know, it was fun, but it was really hard, but it's super rewarding. And I'm proud of myself, which at the end of the day, that's the most important thing, is I did it for me. I did it for myself, and I proved to myself I can do things. So with that being said, this is going to be the end of the video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Like I said, this was a highly requested video. With everybody knowing I graduated college. They just wanted to know. They wanted to know the story, why I decided to go to college, my journey through college, what was hard, and all that fun stuff. So we'll catch you guys in the next video. Like I said, this video is definitely different, but it was highly requested, and we give the people what they want. But anyway, we'll catch you guys on the next video, and we'll see you guys soon.